CIO here, Greg Smith. I've been here since February. Came from the Northwest. I was at George Fox University, and before that I was Director of IT at the Purdue School of Engineering and Technology at IUPUI. So I've been in higher ed for 17 years now. Before that, industry with, and actually this is my 23rd move, so I have been around. Mining industry, chemist, Hewlett Packard. I've been a lot of places, and this is just part of the adventure, and it's getting more exciting by the day. I think this conference, answered a lot of questions and opened up a lot of possibilities. I was, first off, you've probably already been told that if you missed the fireworks last night that it was the ultimate, and it was. Are we going to have to top that next year, Mark?
Yeah, are we doing this next year?
Good question as to, yes, we probably should do something. I think we've built some momentum here with respect to collaboration in the region that we don't know what that might look like next year. Is it more of a joint effort? I know it's something that I have watched at the various places I've been. I came from the Northwest where we had a very strong collaboration of university IT, and that was the Northwest Academic Computing Consortium. And that was a unique situation where we had $10 million in the bank and it was all controlled by the CIOs. That allowed for great collaboration. But here it's, every part of the country it's different. I think Great Plains Network creates an opportunity. It's typically an opportunity around a network. And I have seen the value of that network and the collaboration of the members, especially with high performance computing, the supercomputing team, the booth set up in the center here, which I think, I don't know if that's been fully explained, but they're going to tear this down as a test run as to, first of all, could they set it up, and now can they tear it down so that they will be able to set it up when it's uncrated at the supercomputing conference in Denver in November. But I do think that's a perfect example of that type of collaboration, which I think we see the potential that came out of this RTD over the last 2 days. And so yes, we will be discussing this in the coming year as to what should it look like, what do we hope to accomplish. From what I see too, and of course my observations are after 8 months or so, and I see a tremendous opportunity with respect to an openness to research support. And we all know that we come from different institutions where the rules are different. You may be a part of IT, you may not be. That there could be, typically research is controlled by really powerful data centers or research centers, and that's great. The importance is, do we all collaborate from the IT side, which may be just a team of people that keep computers running on campus, to the research center that has their own experts in a unique field, and what's in between, and how do we allocate those kind of resources. Here, it's a team we refer to as Research Support Services, and I am extremely grateful that we have expertise in the critical areas. You want to have it in high performance computing, you want to have it in some, here especially in fabrication or some mechanical engineering aptitudes. You want a lot of electrical background, you want some flexibility in custom coding or modification, and but you also you have to have the willingness of the researchers to want to work with you, and maybe that's half the battle as well. And I think we have a great situation here. I sense that, or you wouldn't be here as well from the other institutions, that you are definitely successful in what resources you're offering your research communities. That's probably something we'll compare more notes on, or I will definitely learn more about. I was really pleased with the message we got from Hank Foley this morning. For us in the Missouri system, that's the first I've heard. He's new. He's brand new, and definitely we knew he came in here with great credentials, strong academic research background. And what's his philosophy? I guess asking the same kind of question: Why did you come to Missouri system? People have asked why did I come to Missouri from Oregon? And I said, well, for the weather, of course. But Hank, I liked his perspective in addressing the problems that we all see in higher education. I mean, that's part of the challenge. Higher education is changing, but it doesn't just have to be an economic thing, an economic problem, a funding problem. Will the voters continue to allocate tax dollars to support higher education? Those sorts of fear tactics. I think he presented a very practical synopsis of just how we do research is changing and the type of researcher. And I've noticed it from the standpoint of funding. Obviously, he alluded to that as well. The change that I remember occurring when I was at Purdue School of Engineering and Technology was a back off from government funding, whether that was NSF or NIH or whatever. And there was, because the expectation was that corporate funding was going to kick in. And it did, but he alluded to the reality that there's no short-term return on investment to corporate. And maybe they were enthusiastic at first, but I think it's a lot tougher today to find those dollars, and we need a longer window for return. And the other really important thing that I think he touched on, I would like to find out more about it, was how we handle intellectual property. That was a huge roadblock in the early days for me when I got involved in higher ed. I sense that it has been relaxed, and it has to, because there's no reason in the world why corporate partners would venture into these relationships with us if they didn't have control of what they perceive to be truly their intellectual property, or that we couldn't somehow lay claim to something that we co-discovered with them or something like that. But I think it's fair now. I think, but I do realize it's a lot tougher than it used to be. To find those dollars. When we find them, I think they're more valuable from the standpoint of the results they drive. Definitely from my perspective, it's more exciting from how I want to get involved in that type of support. So truly, the research that's taking place here and in the Missouri system, it's really interesting. And so I think you have to understand that from not only standard traditional IT support people, but my folks involved directly in research support, they're as interested in this as the researchers are, because it is really exciting and useful and important. And I'm glad that at least here we seem to have we don't have walls that exist as in IT is the empire that be careful, or they will dictate how you have to operate, or the rules and regulations. There's a little bit of that, and I hope to break that down even more. But truthfully, as far as IT's role in supporting research, we will bend in any way possible. If we throw a roadblock because we can't help you, it's probably because we truly can't help you. It's not because we don't want to. So that at least should open up discussion, and the worst thing that can happen is that you don't talk to us about a possible opportunity. And that at least I think has great potential, at least on this campus, and I'm sensing it at your campuses. That's kind of a quick recap from Greg Smith. I would be interested in your observations or ideas as to where we may take not only the conference but collaboration forward. So. Yeah.
I'm Steve Tupper, and a perennial spring bud, sorry, on these things. Now, I think partly what I took out of the talk this morning from Foley was universities have to get beyond, research as an institution itself, as they work. And it's very important that the research get tied to really industry. In my case, also the government, for that. And so, as I was looking at your day, when thinking about research support services, we still seem to be operating within the organizational boundary of the university. So I'm interested in your thoughts of how do we use the CIO's power, because boundaries could be absolutely invisible to you, to bind industry to it again. Is there a way that we can bring them into an umbrella?
Good question, and I have a perspective from a CIO, especially in also working with systems. But what that opens up is, yes, I control resources that can be made available and somewhat flexible for research support. But what I also, I think I was more involved in when I was at Purdue, was that to be partnering in those opportunities with corporate America, as in even being a PI, co-PI on grants. But when you're working with a corporate partner, it can be packaged in many ways, block grants or whatever, however it can work. But what I think can be very useful is that guarantee that, okay, if we're going to enter into a serious relationship, support or research relationship, I want to be guaranteed that what we create will be supported. And a lot of times a researcher may have grad students at the time and may be fully capable of, okay, no problem, I got that covered. But the reality is, when they graduate or whatever, who's really going to take care of what is created? And that's where I see great value, and where I've been brought in is that IT can give you that guarantee of, we will give you the foundation to ensure that at least we have the base covered, and then let the research be as flexible as possible. But I think it's really important from a CIO's perspective that many times it's the right opportunity where I should get involved to go to the table to commit resources. Like, I will commit. And even if I'm saying I will commit resources because we'll work out some sort of a funding model, whatever, but it's good business sense from their perspective to know that it's not just, trust that it will happen. I can guarantee that it could happen. Is that?
Well, partly. Let me try this one. We're going to work on some research. We're going to get at a certain point of technology ready to come. The university, we'll walk away at some point along the way when we've developed it, because we need to go back to basic science. It's now on an innovation path that has to get funded and turned into manufacturing and deployed. If we tried to bind industry to us early on, and then we sort of just flip it to them, they lose the benefit of having been connected to the databases or the visualization engines and all of these things, and it seems to be a break there. I was looking to see if, is there a continuity of services? Is there a different agreement? Is there some way that you support industry's path of innovation where, we only took up for the first 3 yards and they've got to go the next time. So.
And I'll invite anybody else to weigh in. I think that's tough because, they may be more capable than we are. I don't think that wasn't necessarily the case early on, but their data centers are more powerful than ours. In many respects, their labs are more sophisticated. So I don't know if we can really give.
Talk to the small business guy.
Well, small business, that's a different ballgame. Yeah. Anybody else want to weigh in on that? Mark must have it.
just doing administrative tasks.
Oh, okay.
What was the question?
Sorry. But I guess, you know, we can't say for sure, but,
Right.
yeah.
One thing I think that we all need to learn about is what it means to collaborate.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's a big stumbling block we've been dealing with for years, and that is once you hit a state border, everything falls apart. And despite the fact that we have federated identities across those boundaries from a software and networking perspective, the availability of resources disappears as soon as you hit a border. And so despite the fact that there's good intentions of providing resources, it's rare that the case exists that I'm spending very money for Kansas or vice versa, and we have to get over that because we never make progress until we do.
You know, that is an excellent point. If we can, you know, totally resolve ourselves into the concerns about whose resource is it. And, you know, those boundaries break down with the consortium we have in this room. You know, as far as Mark calling up someone to collaborate with in Arkansas or whatever, it's like, well, you know, it's more of that, if you give me this now, you get it back from me, you know, and we're more flexible in that. But, yeah, the legalities of, you know, should this resource, this Missouri resource be, you know, allocated to something that's really going to benefit Illinois, that's a tougher challenge.
Yes, they should.
As they should, yes. Other, you know, as far as any comments about that research support model, I think there's, in the Missouri system, there's definitely this challenge is how do we share, and we're talking initially with 4 universities, how do you put together that package where, let's say I have high performance computing expertise in Rolla, and how can that expertise and possibly data center be distributed to be shared to other universities? I mean, that's just not the way we want to operate, or the way researchers or definitely IT people want to operate. And even though today it's easier than ever, I think what we're seeing is it's not so much about hardware, because hardware can be anywhere because our networks are so robust and capable, but it is about expertise. And who's got the expertise? Not only who has the expertise, but who can guarantee expertise that's backed up. It's like not just one person knows it all. I mean, that's as dangerous as no expertise. And that's our challenge because we're in competition with a market that just continues to evolve in needing technologists or that expertise. Either they want to steal our people, or you know, however that works. But that's the real challenge, and I know that's what we're looking at because there are pockets of expertise around the Missouri system that we know we should share because we can't duplicate it. And of course, that comes into play with teaching as well. Why are we teaching the same course 4 times? But that's just counter to the culture of academia. So, but I guess we're going to have to try and solve it. Other comments or anything relating to the world we live in? Conference. Where do you want to go next year for the conference? Yes.
Thank you very much, and more fireworks.
Does anybody else in the area have pyro, you know, explosives engineering? I guess that is a unique niche that we do carry. There must be things that happen at other institutions that would be maybe as unique though. Well,